study, we enter into the book of Daniel, chapter 1. And briefly, I'm just going to mention a few things. I think that video shows a lot of things about education. I think our schools are great tools for us to get some help as we train our children. But we as parents ought to do our job as well as we train our children. Children are gifts from God, and we need to treat them as gifts. You know, the gifts of God, of our children, we need to cherish them, but also we need to train them. Daniel chapter 1 begins with verse 1. During the third year of King, that will be a difficult name to pronounce, Joachim reigned in Judah. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it. Now, this is the story of two kings and two cities. That's how Daniel 1 begins, with the story of two cities and two kings. What is the first city? Babylon, or Judah or Jerusalem, and also Babylon. And of course, King Joachim and King Nebuchadnezzar. Now, it's interesting to notice that even though we have two kings and we have two cities, they're completely opposites. Completely opposites. Babylon is the kingdom of confusion. Babylon is the kingdom of rebellion. Babylon is the kingdom of error and apostasy. And God's city, Jerusalem, is God's city, the city of truth, a city of obedience. So we begin the story of Daniel chapter 1 with a big opposites. I think we are seeing the great controversy right here. There is good versus evil. And the worst part is that the story tells us that who won in this case? What happened? It was not the city of truth who won. It was not the city of Jerusalem who stood strong, but the opposite. King Babylon conquered the city of Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, took the articles from the temple, defiled God's holy city. Is this telling me that evil will conquer over good? Well, it did at one point, and I believe it's doing it again and again and again in today's world. Now, this great controversy is happening. It is not happening only on the city of Jerusalem and Babylon, but it's happening in today's world. It's happening in today's families. It's happening in today's society. It's happening in today's churches. And it's happening also in today's children. That's why I titled my message, We Need to Save Our Children. We need to save them. They're still our children. It doesn't matter how old they are still your children. I'm not talking about only to the parents, like brand new parents, like that baby crying over there. Awesome that we have them here. We welcome them here. But I'm not talking only to the parents of 2-3 months old. I'm also talking to the parents of 6-8 years old. And I'm also talking to the parents of 15 or 20 years old. But I'm also talking to the parents of children of 25 or 30 years old. But I'm also talking to the parents of children that are 55 or 60 years old. It doesn't matter how old they are, they're still your children. I remember having a conversation, and we're making a plan with this elderly couple. They were 85 years old. And I'm talking to them, we're making this wonderful plan, and they're excited, I'm excited, and then all of a sudden, the man had a call, he answered the call, goes to the room, and And then comes back and said, Pastor, we need to postpone our meeting. My 65-year-old daughter is in trouble, and I need to go and save her. And we postponed the meeting. We met some other time. You know, it's 85, and their 65-year-old daughter is in some kind of a need, and they're ready to provide that need for her. God bless their heart. But this is the controversy that we're living. This is the great controversy. Now, it's interesting that what happened in this story. Let's jump to verse 6. Young people were brought from Jerusalem to Babylon. Young people. It is believed that probably Daniel and his friends were about 17 to 18 years old. Now, in verse 6 says, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were 4 of the young men chosen, all from the tribe of Judah. Now, verse 7 says, the chief of staff renamed them with these Babylonian names. Daniel was called Belshazzar. Hananiah was called Shadrach. Mishael was called Meshach. And Azariah was called Abednego. Why the change of names? Why the change of names? What? You know, there's a Bible character named Jacob. And the name of Jacob means deceiver. And he was a deceiver. He was part of his character. But Jacob went through an experience where God changed his name from Jacob to Israel. To become an overcomer. To become somebody who fought God and won. A name means a character. And you know, the enemy, evil, is trying to change the name of our children. Evil is trying to change the identity of your children. Even since they're little. Even since they're little. Sometimes you go to the doctor, and sometimes they try to change their names after their shortcomings or their sicknesses. Oh, he has an attention deficit disorder. And now they mark the child for years to come. Sometimes we mark our child or our children for years to come as well. Oh, you're a troublemaker. And then we begin to call our children a troublemaker. I invite you today to speak faith into your children's lives, to speak blessings unto your children's lives. You become a builder. You become an inventor. You're going to be a blessing. Doesn't matter where you go. Doesn't matter how old your children are. Keep speaking faith into their lives. Keep speaking blessings. That's their identity. The king of Babylon tried to change their characters after his own gods. But we need to change who our children are based on faith, based on Bible truth. Because our children are forgiven. Our children are a blessing. Our children are great. Don't look and emphasize their shortcomings. They do have shortcomings. But emphasize that they are forgiven and they're blessed and they're good and they're great and they'll become mighty warriors for God. The world around us is a foreign country. Our citizenship is not in this country. This world wants you and your children to conform. They want Daniel to conform. They want Daniel to do as they want them to